Hello there, best of luck with that. Now, our next guest has immersed himself in the world of backstabbing, plotting and sinister motives.
No, we're not talking about his former career in the cabinet, of course. Alan Johnson's with us on the sofa. It's his third crime novel, Death on the Thames. Good morning to you.
Good morning,
Good
Ben.
morning.
Good morning, Kat.
As the former postie, having a dog near you like that often would never be as
I expected to be on with a cat. I didn't expect to be on with a dog. But yeah, this dog is placid.
Yeah,
charmed
isn't he?
buddy.
He is
Beautiful.
absolutely gorgeous. We were just talking before, actually, about how you write books and the fact that you don't really plan them out.
Well, I don't plot them out to the nth degree.
No.
I kind of know where it's going to go. I know some of the twists that I'm putting in there to kind of fool the reader, if you like.
Yeah.
Surprise, hopefully,
Yeah.
the reader. But I think if you plot it to the nth degree, you lose some of the energy of the book.
Yes.
You lose the ability to take the characters in different directions, because once you start, you know, your mind is working all the time, so you get new ideas.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't restrict yourself from that by having some kind of, colouring
Formula.
plan. Yeah,
Yes.
formula.
This is your new book, Death on the Thames. And this is about the character, the female detective, Louise Mangan.
Yeah.
But this is going back in time.
In part one. So I wanted to show Louise when she'd just come in as a new detective constable. So it's set, first part 1999, second part 2019. And some of the mysteries that I leave the reader with in 1999 are solved when you get to 2019. And Louise is a character who, if you're going to be on... I'm a huge admirer of the police. I was before I was Home Secretary, even more when I saw the way these men and women put their lives on the line to keep us safe. But you can't deny there's an element there, particularly in the Met, with the terrible events that have happened more recently.
Yes.
An element of misogyny, an element of sexism that was there in the police that I wanted to try and capture with Louise being a woman detective back in the 90s. I mean, it looks like nothing's changed in terms of that bad strand to the police, as most of it is good. But I think you're going to give if you're going to give a realistic picture of the police people can believe in, you have to show some of the darker elements.
Yeah.
There are echoes in this story as well of the Jill Dando case, of course, which I think is fascinating. It feels like you've dipped into what we know as actually happening, and you've created a sort of a world around some of those elements.
Yes, I mean, it's peripheral to the main plot. Some of it is set in here, in what was BBC Television Centre in 1999, with a programme called Crime Solve, which is very similar to Crime Watch.
Yes.
And a presenter called Jenny Daniels, who's very similar to Jill Dando. But it's not the main plot. I think if you're writing about what's happened in 1999, that was the biggest event. It was the murder of Jill Dando.
Yes.
So that's in there, peripherally.
And is this something you enjoy, writing from a female detective point of view? Is it a challenge?
It is, Kat, because I don't think a man can write entirely from a female perspective. I mean, imagine coming into the police force at a time when you had women police officers. You were kind of pushed into a channel where you couldn't do certain jobs. I mean, it applied to other professions as well.
Yeah.
You can only imagine that from a male point of view. But could I take on the challenge of writing about a woman whose marriage is broken up, who's got 2 kids, eventually, not in 1999, but up to date, and to try to create that person? And there's plenty of male detectives, coppers around in crime fiction. You know, let's try and redress the balance.
So your original excursions into writing, when you stopped your political career, were political memoirs, and incredibly successful. You won a lot of awards writing about your life, writing about politics. Was there always sort of a novelist in you itching to get out?
Yes, yes. I've read fiction ever since I was a kid. My preferred book to read is not a political memoir, it's fiction. And so, you know, the challenge, could I write that? I was sick of writing about myself anyway. And unfortunately, I got a 3-book deal with Wildfire to get onto fiction. So I always wanted to do that, and it's been moderately successful, and it's a wonderful world to be in.
Not moderately successful, hugely successful.
Well, yeah.
But I love the fact that your wife thinks it's just for you to go to book festivals.
She thinks I only write books to go to book festivals, yeah. And I think there's probably, as Carolyn there, there's probably some truth in that, because there's this wonderful world of book festivals. You know, little villages and town halls, and people come, unlike political meetings, where some people, this will surprise you, come with a kind of agenda to trip you up. At book festivals, it's all wonderful. You know, you're talking about your books to people who have read your books.
Yeah.
So it's a glorious...
Your former boss, the Prime Minister, is a fan. We know he's a fan of your writing. Has he read any of the novels?
I don't know whether Tony has time to read novels, but he did write to me after This Boy, my childhood memoir, and said, I really enjoyed the book. You missed your vocation. And I thought, hang on, here's the guy who appointed me.
Don't know if that's
to
a
3 cabinet ministers.
Yeah.
He was telling me I should have been a writer. But no, that was, you know, it's nice to get praise from anywhere. And the book now... the screenwrites have gone to Michelle Collins.
We heard how exciting. She'd be brilliant.
Well, she's my idea of Louise Mangan.
Amazing.
To play Louise Mangan on the screen. I don't know whether that will happen.
Yeah.
But her
Well, watch this space.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. Thank you for joining us
Thank
this morning.
you.
Thanks, Alan. Thank you. Your local weather forecast is coming up next on ITV1. But when we come back, Sam Thompson is swapping jungle critters for chocolate buttons on an Easter adventure.
And the Bee Machine has something special for your Easter Sunday as well. Stay with us, see you in a bit.